Service! Hey everyone, welcome to Chef Sense. I'm your host, Chef Massey. Okay, so today in the studio, I am so excited. We have Jamie and Madison from Dancing Greens Farm. Now, that name in itself, that's like a uber shot of vitamin D. Like, that makes me happy. Like, that, even that name alone, like, pulls you right in. So, like, let's hear about it. This is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having us in. We're so excited to be here and to be, sharing what we're doing.
We're fans of the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Dancing Greens Farm is a small, diversified vegetable farm in Monterey. We grow and sell our produce, and in addition to our produce, we put on what we call shindigs, which are, by definition, a full-on celebration. So we do farm-to-table dinners and events where we bring people in to what we are doing.
Which is amazing.
Right.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Madison and I met in studying food systems in graduate school in Italy.
Yeah, like I saw that. How cool is that? Wow.
Okay. So we met in another continent, brought together by food. I really was there because I come from a background of agriculture and environmental science.
Oh,
and
so awesome.
I'm very motivated by how interconnected agriculture and climate change are.
Yep.
And all of the systematic problems that are there with it. And Madison comes from a culinary background.
Okay.
So she's very motivated by cooking and bringing, high quality food to people.
Yep.
And also motivated by good food, helping human health, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And when talking more and learning more, basically environmental health, the health of the soil and the organisms living in it, and the health of people with what they're eating, they're basically the same thing.
Yep.
So we need to consistently be putting them together.
Sure.
And that's sort of what brought us together.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we met there and started learning, and when a few months into the program, we got to go to this agriturismo in Tuscany. And literally it sounds sort of fake. We were walking in this beautiful setting, in the olive fields, basically, talking about everything we're learning, where we came from, and our dreams for the future. And basically we realized, we have the same dream.
The exact same dream.
Dream. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, actually, because you mentioned the name, we have a really fun story about where the name
even better.
came from.
So we were actually on this foraging expedition in Italy, which was incredible, with this really cool group of people. And it was led by this gentleman who had been foraging and working with groups in the area for so many years.
Okay.
And we were walking through and identifying plants that are edible. And then he'd hold one up, and then he'd hold up another one that looked exactly the same and say, and this one will kill you.
Wow. Yeah. That'll get your attention.
Take the edible ones.
Right.
And so we spent this afternoon gathering these edible plants and bringing them back. And we were looking at this beautiful lake, and music started playing because everybody had, accordions and whatnot. And this kind of joyful celebration broke out. And as we're about to eat all the food that we gathered, we realized nobody brought any utensils. So we all just started eating the salad with our hands and dancing with the music. And we were like dancing in greens. And when we were thinking, we're like, it has to be something that encapsulates that experience that we had that was just pure joy. Just pure joy. So that's what we're trying to do.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a foundation. So now, how long have you been in operation? Is that?
We had been dreaming about it for a long time, but we, legally became established January of last year.
Okay.
So we just, 2023. So we just did our first season, and we're going into our second season.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's awesome. So when you look at your operation size, I mean, what size is that? Your acreage and what you're dealing with?
So the growing space is a half an acre, so it's very small. Wow. We do hyper intensive market garden style. Okay. And since we are doing the shindigs and events, I'm sort of growing for that.
Okay. I would. Yeah.
And demonstrating what we can do on a small scale.
Okay.
But in addition to what we're growing for the shindigs, Jamie's also growing for, last year we had a farm stand. This year we'll enter the West Stockbridge Farmers Market on Thursday evenings. Last year we did a small CSA. This year we have opportunities to expand our growing space, which Jamie should speak to.
Tom Brazy at the farm in New Marlborough is letting us grow some over there. So we're actually going to get to expand.
So you're kind of expanding.
Space.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're very excited.
Very cool.
But as somebody who's not a farmer who's come into this relationship where I get to work very closely with a farmer, it's really incredible because when I saw the half acre, I didn't know what could come out of that.
Right.
And when we started dreaming and picking out seeds at the beginning of last year, I just kind of begged Jamie to give us as much color and variety and interesting vegetables and herbs and edible flowers that she could come up with. And she grew over 160 varieties.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
She's really good. I think when we were dreaming in Italy, we both talked a big game about what we were capable of, but we didn't actually know that we could pull this off. And I didn't know that Jamie was such a fantastic farmer until we got into it.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Madison's very kind. Yeah, she's my hype woman. Yeah.
Well, that's a team.
Absolutely.
Stick together and do what you love to do.
Right.
Okay. Wow. Very cool.
Can I keep hyping?
Sure.
Yeah.
So last year we started in January.
Yep.
By March, Jamie had completely become the brainchild of what the irrigation system would be. She's never done irrigation, by the way.
Yep.
Designed and built an irrigation system from scratch. Brought in electric, tilled up or cut into the sod because the space was just a big lawn, essentially. Built the hoop house, built the shed, built an outdoor kitchen, and got plants in the ground all in 3 months.
Yeah. Wow.
I had some help, but it was.
That's great.
We had a goal of what we wanted to get done for starting the season.
Yep.
And that space, had the opportunity to be transformed. So.
Are you doing dinners is this like every week, like a couple dinners every week, or is this like full 5 days?
So it is more sporadic than that. We did 10 shindigs last year.
Okay.
They take, they're a big lift to put on. They're a very special thing to set up the table and do the outdoor kitchen. So we did 10 from the months of July to October.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our shindigs last year, we got to experiment quite a bit. So we did kind of our quintessential, the thing that we realized was the most special that actually felt like magic. And when I talk about it and think about it, I get goosebumps because it was that cool. Right. And those experiences, those shindigs where we would bring anywhere from 25 to 35 people to the farm. Okay. We're on Blue Hill Road, which is just a really picturesque location already. So you drive in through these, magical trees and you enter the farm, and we have a little pond next to our growing space. So you walk over the pond and you enter the farm, and Jamie greets you, and we have a little beverage, and you get to learn about how she's growing everything. So we do a really immersive farm tour. It's a lot of education. That tour usually lasts anywhere from half an hour to an hour, depending on how excited people are. Yeah. And people tend to be really excited about that.
Oh, sure.
And while Jamie's showing people vegetables and kind of blowing their mind that a zucchini plant grows this way and that this leaf means this plant. I get to come around with little bites of the food that we've actually just harvested that morning. Okay. And then we all come together and sit at a long table in the center of the farm. So you're actually, you can still smell the tomatoes growing right next to you.
Oh, I love that.
It's amazing.
That tacky, it just stays with you once you touch the leaf.
Right. Yeah. Definitely the tomatoes.
You got me. Yeah. Wow. That's cool. So is this like multiple courses, or is it like family style? Or?
It is a lot of courses. Because Jamie is growing, I said, 160 varieties. So much deliciousness that is really hard for me as somebody who really likes to cook to limit myself. So we're kind of doing anywhere from 8 to 10 courses. Okay. We're doing family style, and it is fun. And the reason we do family style is, one, it's less waste, which is really important to us, but two, it's more communal and more exciting, and you have to talk to the person next to you, and it kind of creates that community vibe. So it's a really joyful atmosphere, and And then at the end of our 10 courses, the most fun I've had is actually trying to figure out how to put vegetables into dessert. So
Okay.
do a lot of that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So
what are some
Oh, there you go.
vegetable desserts?
I think the favorite last year was maybe fennel cake.
Ooh.
Oh.
So doing a fennel honey syrup, kind of drenching
nice.
this fennel cake. And so it just is like, fennel is so sweet and delicious.
It
and
is.
that
That's a
licorice
great idea.
flavor.
Yeah,
And,
licorice, yeah.
Yep. And some people think they hate fennel, and then they try the
And
cake.
then they're like, oh,
no, I love
this
fennel.
is amazing. Yeah.
That's great.
And then we did a lot with husk cherries and jams and
Ooh,
pavlovas and fun things like that.
Oh, okay. Wow, you are really busy with that.
And also, in addition, we partner a lot with people. That's a huge tenet to what we want to do is collaborations and community building and partners. And of course, we're only growing vegetables. So by having these dinners, we're able to feature other farms and other products that we really admire and are doing really good work.
That's great. Wow, that's busy.
Yes.
It's busy.
Gee, so I would imagine this is like plant forward, obviously. Is it vegetarian?
No.
Okay, so it's like almost like that Mediterranean diet where you're vegetable forward, but and accentuating with like quality proteins and preparation on that.
Exactly.
Okay,
And one of the things that we care a lot about, actually, I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh boy. Okay.
Jamie's a vegetarian. We have people in our lives that are celiac or that have a nut allergy. Somebody we care a lot about actually hates cilantro. So people come with a lot of different
preferences and allergies.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of that. And one of the things we've found when we've been going to farms to eat or doing these kind of farm to table style dinners, that it's actually really difficult for everybody at the table to feel taken care of and for all of those allergies to be accommodated.
I could see that. Yeah.
So we do that. It's really important to us. So we send out a survey before so we know exactly what people are coming with, and then we cater to all of the diets and make sure that nobody feels uncomfortable or awkward or unsafe. They have it all. But what that means is that vegetables tend to have front and center at the table because so many people can eat so many vegetables.
Right. Okay, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Looking at, are there like themes that you do for each dinner, or you just kind of...
We did a lot of veggie puns last year.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Those are great.
To theme our dinners. But this year we sort of want to focus more on bigger themes, like a theme of circularity. And theming like using waste and things like that.
Oh, great idea.
So we like to slip in bits of education in like a joyful experience.
Okay.
So I'm very aware of how a lot of farming spaces could feel preachy or like you have to, like you're coming to a lecture. And we don't want it to feel like that. We want it to feel like you're coming to have this really fun time on a farm and eat really well. And then you're learning something as well. Like you had no idea that you could save the carrot tops and make a pesto out
Oh,
of it.
yeah, that's a great idea.
Like that.
Sure.
Right. So
right.
That's a big part of what we want to do in, our education to feel immersive and joyful.
See, and that's, I think especially today, I mean, as chefs and as farmers, we have a great responsibility to the land. It starts with the land. It starts with the animals, the husbandry, like how that goes. Because you taste a difference.
Absolutely.
And it's it's my opinion, but it's the right thing to do. But it goes such a long way because it's such a true story and journey that you're putting forward. It's beautiful to see that more and more today, especially with, the work that you guys are all doing and setting the example. It's great. So, wow.
We love the storytelling piece of it.
Yeah.
To like give every vegetable their own stories in addition to like our stories or how we came, we got started. And there's a story with the season as well. So like the obstacles or the, joyful moments that we experience as it goes. Like we believe in like threading that in to our dinners and what we're putting out there. Yeah.
And I love the idea of like, I always like doing that kind of mind play with sweet and savory. Not everything 100% goes, but I think mastering that skill set where it's like, I'm going to make a ramp ice cream. you know, and then maybe I'll candy it and I'll, you know, break it up on the top, or, you know, thinking of that process is just another opportunity, you know, to challenge yourself, but also use inventory that you have, or, you know, the world around you, you know, and I think that's great.
Well, and here in Berkshire County, the people and the businesses and the creatives and the farmers, like there's just such a wealth of like really talented folks doing really cool things. So beyond us just growing and cooking these vegetables, like that piece is really important, is highlighting everybody that we can that's around us and telling their stories as well.
That's so cool. Wow.
And that's one of the things that I'll hype up Madison now. She is excellent at, is I will give her, you know, this is what I think is going to be ready at this time, but it just depends. And because of our model, we don't have to cook to a menu, so we can be flexible. And she is so adaptable with, you know, what is available in any given moment.
We're finalizing the menus the day.
Sometimes.
Well, and that's the thing. It's hard to do. Like, you know, even with, you know, some resorts I've been at, it's like I've worked with local farms to say, hey, if there's anything that you've never grown before, you know, throw it at me. You know, I know it's, you know, you don't want to do an entire field of it, but if you want us to try it here, let's do that. I mean, I've sat with them and basically built out, you know, a growing schedule, or these things that they would be willing to try. And then we just start getting them in, you know, or working with like the head gardener at a resort where, you know, you're going on that spreadsheet and you know how that's going to cycle in, you know, and they're like, all of a sudden you've got hops coming in and you're like, wait, well, I guess I'll do a hop salt. You're constantly thinking through in that relationship. And I think it's important because one feeds the other on creativity. You know, farmers are so essential and so important. I mean, to me, a farmer is, it's like that. It's essential. We must have them. We must have you in our lives for existence. It's like the honeybee, right? It's this key component that people don't realize, the network, the spider webbing of existence that comes off of your love of what you do. And it is love of what you do, because you don't get a lot. And sometimes, you know, the government doesn't give a lot. Either, and you're sandwiched, you know, and it's, there's, you know, there's tight months, there's tight seasons, and, you know, it's so interesting because you're not in control. You're dealing with Mother Nature. I mean, there's obviously things out there that people do to control, which I can go into for farming, but you know, but the special place that our Berkshire and New England farmers and some of our other farmers across our great country, where they are spearheading in their own way this moment of, we're going to stand for what we believe in and keep replicating that every season. And it's very powerful, you know, and that's where I think a chef, like we talked before, is that storyteller, that I have a responsibility to not only the people that I lead, but those that believe in me and provide me with what they're gifted at doing. And that's a farmer or another business, you know, whether it's South River Miso, you know, or some of these other companies that, you know, that are amazing in our community. Maybe that sounds like we put pressure on ourselves, but I think it's the right way to think about it, you know, and you guys do that, and it's amazing.
It's really important. We can't work in a silo. You know, farms can't work in a silo. Restaurants can't work in a silo. We need, like that way you said, that spider web, that intersection model of us all lifting each other up. It's so important, because also that's how community change happens. That's how what we think about food system change happens.
Sure.
We're really big believers in, you know, where we feel strongest is the bottom up. That's where we feel like we feel our best and most excited in that work. And how can we bring everybody up with us?
And as you guys are kind of reaching out to the community, I mean, I know you're saying you're focused on your dinners. Are you like CSA at some point, or kind of pulling? Is there?
I think it's something, a goal in the future.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out consistency in growing.
Sure.
And that's something with CSA, you really need that diversity and consistency every week.
Right.
We're going to do the farmer's market this year and sell at, Tom at the farm, his store, and then continue doing selling to the food access program at Berkshire Grown.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to continue to learn how to grow as a farm and build up that community.
Okay.
To
Wow, that's
have
awesome.
that membership.
And that's the
in
Berkshire
future.
Mobile Farmers Market?
That
part of it, or-
they do 2 programs.
Is the other...
The Berkshire Mobile
one.
Market, and then they have another food access
That's the other one.
program.
Okay, yeah.
But they're actually expanding the mobile market to Monterey, which is really exciting.
Oh, that's
'cause
awesome.
So
Okay.
will be a hyper local farm for that mobile market.
Oh, that's great.
Which
That's
is
a
really
good pull.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, when you look at, your farm, and are there like milestones that you're going to carry forward into your new season? I mean, what are your wins and things you're dealing with?
Yeah, that's a big question. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to say.
I'll start with the shindig piece.
Okay.
So last season we hosted, as Jamie said, 10 shindigs. These were the dinners on the farm. We also did a couple of dinners in New York City. We did a retreat on the farm.
Oh, wow.
A multi-day retreat, which was fantastic. We did a big bash, we called it. It was just basically a party on the farm where we brought in a lot of producers and we did a lot of workshops. And so we got to test a lot of different things. So looking ahead to season 2, we know we want to do the dinners on the farm again because that was so special. And we really wanted to deepen the workshop and educational offerings that we have. So every Sunday on the farm at the end of May, to as long as it's warm enough out, September probably, we'll have an educational standing workshop so that people can come and experience a lot of different things, whether it's Jamie teaching about farming principles, I can lead some cooking lessons, or we can bring in some other experts from the community.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And actually going into your farming practices, you're a no-till, right?
That's
Did I
right.
get that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit for some of our listeners that are
Sure.
maybe not aware of exactly?
So, no-till is a farming principle where you basically, once the beds are created, you do not till the ground again. So, tilling, a lot of people think of tilling and they could think of like the horse and the plow, back in the day and going through. And that's obviously one form of it. But now tilling is a much more mechanical operation where you're taking, machinery and very quickly with this very heavy tractor going over the land and mixing up all of the soil and breaking up everything there.
You're like ripping.
And when you're doing that, you're destroying all the microorganism communities that were built in the soil.
Okay.
And another thing about tilling is that it releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere because soil holds carbon.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And I'm not trying to hate on tilling. There's lots of different ways to go about farming.
Absolutely.
But in a way that, in the scale that we're at, and I grow with soil health being like my shining light. So I'm thinking about everything that could improve soil health.
Yeah.
So a no-till system, we do a one-time till where we get all the grass out and we build our beds. And then once those beds are built, we don't till after that. So we do other methods of terminating crops and flipping crops over.
Okay.
A broad fork becomes our best friend to break up compaction. We use a lot of tarping. We use a lot of mulching. One of the principles is like, you don't want the ground to be uncovered. You want to always have ground cover, whether that be cover crop, compost, mulch, because when soil is exposed, it's getting dehydrated and impacting those microorganisms.
Okay, very cool.
So,
very interesting.
That's how we're growing, and I really believe in it. I think it's really great. And then in addition to that, the first farm I worked at, I learned about the 3 C's, which are compost, crop rotation, and cover cropping. As another guiding light to incorporate into the farm. And I'm always adding as much compost as I can, growing in a way that I'm rotating the crops to make sure I'm breaking up disease cycles.
Yeah, monocropping or doing that whole...
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's rough.
What were some ways that you learned about the soil? Like, did you read about it, or did you learn, where did you learn about that?
Both. I mean, I guess to go a little bit into my background, I I didn't grow up on a farm. The first farm I worked at was actually Stone Barns in New York. I know. I started.
There you go.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, is every farm like this? Like,
Right. Yeah.
And the farm staff there really took the time to teach. Like those 3 C's I mentioned, like they stopped and paused and they said, let's really talk about this. And like just sparks were going off inside of me. I was like, this is so fascinating, so cool. I'm a science geek and I love growing food.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And then, I studied environmental science in college and I geared a lot of what I was learning to learning more about agriculture. I've read a lot of books. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've worked on 5 different farms, so I've learned a lot of methods.
Okay.
And I've also done woofing, which is a room and board exchange program on farms. And I've done a permaculture course, and I know to get into farming, you gotta have a lot of tricks up your sleeves, and you gotta like be able, what you were talking about before, you're not in control. So how can I have all these tools in my toolkit, both figuratively and literally, where I can adapt to what's going on? And a lot of that is just continuously learning. Yeah. So I'm a lifelong learner from the farm, from the soil.
Wow.
I really believe that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Isn't she great?
Yeah. That's a lot of.
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that I was able to really follow my passion. So,
that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we should, culinary wise, I mean, because you guys are amazing.
It's really funny, actually, because Jamie didn't say this, but she was like born to be a farmer. And she always tells the story of how when she was a kid, everybody would bring their snacks to school and, it'd be candy bars or whatnot. And she'd bring the cucumber.
Oh, that's all.
I was like a weird kid. Like I was like, my parents didn't have to try hard. They're like, are you sure?
You probably would have been the one I was trying to get a hold of just because I needed to get rid of my Vienna sausages. Those were so gross. Oh, well.
But we have very different upbringing. So I grew up actually in Utah, in suburbia, and every meal was great, but it was the drive-through.
Okay.
So it was Wendy's, McDonald's, Taco Bell on rotate, and then cereal for breakfast, which were great, but I also didn't ever know how to cook. We didn't really turn on the stove in my house. And I eventually discovered in my 20s that I was lactose intolerant, and all of this food that I was eating was actually causing me a lot of pain. And so I started this journey of, why do I hurt? What's going on? And once I discovered that, I realized it's actually hard to find food that is, not going to hurt me. I have to start cooking.
Processed.
So yes. So then I started cooking, and I got to a point where I could only do so much. I had the 3 recipes, and that kind of got boring. And I started reading blogs and reading cookbooks, and you can only go so far. And so then I'm so fortunate. I got to go to Natural Gourmet Institute in New York City.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is a health supportive culinary school, really fantastic environment. And I learned how to cook for allergies. I learned how to cook with the seasons. I learned about fresh produce. I learned about the more color on your plate. And all of these things were just like, wow. It was the most joyful, most incredible experience I could have had was my time at that culinary school. It just like everything changed for me. Yeah. And so then from then on, I just have to cook all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But then fast forward to the pandemic, and I thought I'd figured it out. I was like, oh, just eat, beautiful vegetables.
Eat good food.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah. And turns out it's a lot more complicated than that. And
to say the least.
Yeah. And there's a lot of work at play outside of that, and the systems that are, have been long established. It's food access and what you have the ability to do are really limited. And so I was like, well, if it's this difficult for so many people, what's going on? Why is this happening? Yep. Who's in charge? What? And discovered this program in Italy where Jamie and I met. And it was studying food systems. I didn't even know what that meant. Like, what is a system for food? So it was all eye-opening. And then speaking with Jamie and me really saying, like, it's human health. Like, how do we find health for our bodies? And she was like, it starts at the soil.
Yep.
Let's do this together.
Yeah. It's so interesting. And that's an amazing journey. Like, I'm so grateful with the podcast because I talk to amazing people that almost seem like that they're predestined. You know, you have this course that we're sent on, right? And, you know, you're brought together for a reason. And I think that's really powerful. That's so cool. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, when you guys are, you know, going along, you're doing your dinners right now at the farm. Do you ever see going to other locations, or is it just kind of like, you know, like pop-ups? Or
we did 2 in New York City last year.
Oh, wow. That's a journey.
That's a journey.
Yeah. Okay.
And that actually, you know, when we started, in the partnership piece, we want to work with partners to bring it to other spaces. That's definitely, and also because, to be honest, to be in the farm in this outdoor setting, we really only have 2.5 months to work with, where it's still warm enough at night and, you know, light enough at night to do it. So that's definitely. We went out the Berkshires.
Too. Yep, we worked with Farah at Bondu, in New Ashford,
and then we did a dinner at Red Shirt Farm.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
One of the things that I'm really proud of in our first season is we built a completely mobile kitchen setup, so we can go anywhere we need to go long as there's electricity and water.
And water.
We can
like a food trailer.
Not it's bins, but yes.
Yeah, well,
it's got everything we need.
That's awesome. Wow, that's great. You know, it's funny hearing you guys. Lynn Avon is someone that I've gotten to know over this last year or so, but she has Dandelion Forest Farm over there in New Hampshire. And it's just such a cool process. And hearing you guys and what Lynn is doing as well, it's such an amazing concept. Because she's doing similar things.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I have to, maybe I'll give you her number if you ever want.
Yes.
She really is awesome.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's doing like sodas and fermenting and certain things. She's doing acorns and stuff too. I mean, do you guys get into, I mean, it's a half acre you're growing on, but do you forage as well? Is that something you like?
Yes. My partner actually loves foraging mushrooms.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's always in the woods looking for mushrooms.
Okay. So you
and
guys,
I've come along. So ramps and things like that as well. And I definitely.
So you guys have your spots on those and like you feel pretty good?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have a pen here. If you just want to write down the address. No, we don't do that.
Right.
No, that's awesome.
No, we're no competition.
Come to the farm.
I got to get there first.
Yeah.
I got to earn my keep. No, I get it. Makes sense. You know, and I love foraging too. Like, have you heard John Wheeler at all?
Yes. Yeah.
And you
of course.
probably, he's great. He's such a riot. But getting out and getting in the forest and grabbing those mushrooms, and we really have like a plethora of them around here.
It's a great place.
To
forage.
It's huge. Even chaga, I try to get in the wintertime and try it.
Right.
But so I guess looking at your dinners, so you post them online. I mean, how far out do you go?
We're trying to post even earlier this year. So our goal is in the next couple of weeks to finalize our schedule. We have a lot of ideas, and we kind of have to narrow it down, actually. And we'll post it to our website, and if people sign up for our mailing list, they'll be the first to know. So we send out...
So sign up for our mailing list.
Okay, so that's a good... Okay,
and we're at dancing-greens.com.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then if you're not into the emails, you can find us on all of the social media platforms, and we're also announcing there.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Do you guys do your own social media and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Who does it more?
Well,
it's a joint operation.
I would say I take a lot of the content, and Madison does a lot of the posting.
Cool.
Yes.
So it's a collab.
We're definitely collaborating because neither of us is.
There's a lot of hats you have to wear in starting a
job
business.
in itself.
And social media is one we've had to we've had to grow into.
Yeah.
We're learning a lot.
We just started a TikTok. So
Ooh.
I've got a nice audience there.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Jackson.
Yeah, no, I've had my own journey as a music artist. Just like you always just have to go back to what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
It can be it's just another hat.
Exactly.
Gotta limit your time doing it, but also do it enough to bring in new business and stuff.
And, and you have to just train yourself that every activity you have to film.
Yeah.
There's a photo or a video of everything you're doing.
It changes.
Yeah, it can be fun. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It gets difficult. When I'm in the kitchen, I can't pick up a phone. When Jamie's in the field, she can't pick up a phone. So when we're together, we can help film each other.
Kind of knock it out a little bit.
Yeah, share that
Makes
responsibility.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. The sponsor today is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online therapy service. They have 30,000 licensed therapists in their network. It's really amazing. And I have enjoyed taking advantage of this opportunity with them myself because oftentimes the intensity in the kitchen, the challenges in life, I have put myself on the back burner. And working with BetterHelp, it has supported me in continuing my own self-work, but also putting me back front and center in the game of being an effective leader, partner, and all of the above. So take that questionnaire. Once you do that, you go through that system and they filter those therapists that are fit for your specific needs. They get back to you in most cases within 48 hours or less. You can book those therapy sessions at your leisure that fit your schedule, which is truly amazing. I can say as a chef and, on the go and parent, it makes it very convenient. You could do those via the video chat, the instant message. Go to betterhelp.com/Chef Massey and you get the 10% off first month when you do that. And in that link, the questionnaire is there for you. So join me on sliding to the front burner because we deserve it. Back to the episode. Is there any product or produce that you grow that you really like? I mean, you're like, man, it's kind of fun to work with. I didn't realize I could do sweet and savory or anything like that.
I mean, I really love husk cherries.
Okay.
I love them. I just think, what a genius plant. What you can get out, the flavors.
Yeah,
you really do get the sweet, savory kind of notes.
No, you do.
It's
like
really,
the citrusy.
And the cool thing about it is you can't find it in a lot of stores.
No.
It's people don't know what it is.
Because harvesting those
takes a lot of time.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And so when people see them too, that's an exciting kind of gift.
Yeah,
people are all kind of awestruck by the husk cherry and its little package.
The little lantern. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a mini tomatillo, You're
it is,
trying to, unhusk it, and then it almost gets that tackiness like them too.
They're in the same plant family, so they're related.
Thank you. Yeah, all right. Well, maybe I went up a point or two. So, well, that's cool. They're great to use.
I love them. Jamie's arugula is extra spicy and delicious.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Her radicchio varieties are extra purple and pink. You're just good at what you do. She's growing a lot of edible flowers this season, which will be really fun for me. A lot of things we can do with food and beverage. I mean, I'll actually just list the whole farm if you let me.
I would love that. I mean, poor Jackson over there. So do you guys do?
It's actually cool to see this collab because it's somebody who makes food working with a person who you don't always see that.
No.
It's pretty rare, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, especially, absolutely it is.
Usually you're working with a bunch of different people, right? And so,
It's, as a chef, I've been blessed with being here in the Berkshires, and I would rotate farms in. I would rotate, and even with our seafood or anything, we put it up on the board, this farm is this far away from the dining room in that direction.
That's great.
So people tend to like that a lot, and really, and that's what my goal will be when I do this season is to do as many farms as I can. It's not easy because they're all amazing. And to be able to get them in and, because I did, we've done Meet the Farmer dinner, stuff like that. But because it's really about celebrating that farm, whether it's making honey and all 10 courses or 5 courses, how do you do that? If you're going to use those, with the ground cherries or, how are you going to use that across the menu, how fun it can be? You could puree them and make them into a fruit roll-up kind of cool thing, like an ice cream or topping a piece of steelhead, with a broken relish with that, because they're amazing. Or blistering them, or anyways, I'll stop now.
No, it's exciting. It's fun to talk about.
But these are things you look at it and it's how many ways can I use arugula?
Totally.
And the other thing about the farms too, depending, I mean, because sometimes they turn it right back on their livestock, but like if there's seconds, you know, like I've worked with a farm and said, hey, if you've got like onions, carrots, and celery that are like banged up and whatever, I'm doing gallons of stock. So if you want to sell me that at a certain number, and I want to go back to it, you said that was in the sense I feel we're conditioned with the perfect carrot, the perfect bell pepper, the this, the that. It's all got to be average the length of, you know, and we become kind of conditioned and spoiled in that aspect because, you know, this produce is, you know, you can clean it up, trim it down and use it, but it just doesn't sell well, you know, so that's where the seconds kind of, you know.
There's a lot to say about that because it's a reality that not everything looks like this perfect thing. And who created this concept of a perfect vegetable, of a perfect tomato, of a perfect carrot anyway?
Right.
You know, a lot of supermarkets, the produce has to reach a certain criteria to be like brought into the shelves.
Sure.
Which is a huge problem in itself, but also the customer is now, like when the farms say that the customer won't buy those things, it's like we've been conditioned to expect, you know, a turnip to look like a certain.
Right, and you also have the seconds, or, you know, you end up overgrowing because you deal with pests and weather, and so is that 5%, 10%, 3% overage. And then you're dealing with what you produce, what it looks like. Is it sellable? If it's not sellable, it's turned back to the livestock, you know, composting, all of that. But then, you know, you go into it and, you know, my question is well, if there are those opportunities, you know, could a school use that? Could there be an opportunity for someone to network with the farms and say, hey, you know, maybe we can pull all of these things together, and one regional school could be the pilot for this program. And, you know, the farms they're not making their great retail price that they need, but it's better than nothing, you know, or they use it all for compost and whatever, and that works for them. But those are just thoughts in my mind that it's like, we are kind of conditioned and spoiled in our country in some ways. You know, just like with the chicken breast. You want to go buy a chicken, a 5 to 6 pounder. I mean, that's why they have those ranges in poundage, because you're going to get more accuracy with, you know, the breast size or the protein and this portions. But it's still, we're conditioned to that 5-6 ounce breast that we're like, oh, it's perfect. And
something we want to do is, because I'm growing for Madison, like, show people that what they're eating was a quote-unquote ugly food.
Yes.
And how it tastes the same, and if it actually tasted delicious. And, like, nothing happened to them. Like, I feel like we should push it a step further, and, you know, farms should get paid the same amount for that food. You know, there's a difference between something that, you know, is moldy and you cut off versus something that looks like a carrot shape. That is a weird shape.
I feel like carrots, you notice it the most because you go to the grocery store, every carrot is like,
it's like
you're at the farmer's market. It's like,
I think there's some level of opportunity to capture something.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a lot of opportunities.
It's work for sure. It's a lot. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, so there's the ground chairs. Anything else? I mean...
Well, it's hard because it's an impossible... Because I love every vegetable.
You have to, right?
I mean, I have deep affinity for certain vegetables. Like,
really?
For example, sugar snap peas are my spirit vegetable.
Yes.
Because I actually was told by an old farm manager that my spirit vegetable was a sugar snap pea because of my energy. And he said something about, like, you know, taking the time to grow, and then once you blossom, it's so sweet and so great.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
I took a spirit vegetable quiz a few months later, and I got sugar snap pea. So it was like
undeniable.
So
wow.
I
mine would probably be like, I don't know, like a heirloom tomato or something.
That's a great one.
A brandy wine.
Brandy wine. Delicious. Absolutely.
I got the quiz, man.
Yeah, I know, I'm on it. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny growing, even on the indigenous side, when had my restaurant, I did 21 of these Three Sisters gardens.
Sure.
So, having those, and I did different, corn varieties and the squash, and I had a Hopi Pale Gray, which I was surprised grew up here, but they're like massive. Mm-hmm. They are huge. I'm like, where you going, buddy? Like I had this whole thing, ready to go and growing, and they kind of go where they want to, and you got to be like, okay, we got to get your little fingers back on this way. Let's tie you back around, because they'll just crawl everywhere. But I couldn't believe the size of those. But anyways, no, it's great. Yeah, love it. So
before we wrap, just remind us where we can all connect with you guys
on the
internet.
Yeah, so find us on our website,
which
is dancing-greens.com. And you can go all the way to the bottom and sign up for our newsletter. And then you can also play around on our pages. We talk about when and where we're hosting our shindigs. We talk about our farming philosophy. We have a blog on there with letters from Farmer Jamie. And then we also have a Those We Admire page where we're kind of highlighting it and shouting out all of the people that we've worked with and all of those that we just think are doing really, really cool things.
Oh, yeah.
And then Instagram at Dancing Greens Farm.
Okay. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn at Dancing Greens Farm, and we now have a TikTok at Dancing Greens Farm. And also come to the farm. Come hang, shoot us an email. And I really want us to have not a completely open policy, but I want people to come and
like a drop in
things.
I mean, it's like backstage VIP passes.
Right.
Really, all you have to do is call Farmer Jamie's cell phone, which is listed on our website. It's listed on our Google Maps profile.
Yeah.
Just call and say when you want to come, and she'll say yes and show you around.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd love that. Yeah. Field trip.
Yes.
So this year we have, we'll have our shindig schedule that's coming out soon. And then we'll have our workshop schedule. And then also if you're interested in a private, we do privates. So you can find that information on our website. Okay. And when we'll be at the West Stockbridge Farmers Market. And we'll also be selling at Tom Brazy at the farm in New Marlborough, his store as well.
Very awesome.
I think that's everything.
So far.
Okay.
So far, yeah.
Nice.
And if anyone's interested in reaching out to us about a potential collaboration or anything too, we're always excited about that.
Oh, that's great. Okay, sounds good. All right, well, thank you both for joining us here. This was awesome, lots of knowledge, and I look forward to stopping by and
absolutely
seeing the passion, tasting the passion, all that good stuff.
Tasting the passion.
Thank you all for what you do. It's awesome.
Make a T-shirt, tasting the
passion. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Merch.
Yeah, you go. Nice. All right. Well, take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Right. Yeah. All right, everyone. That is a wrap. You can check us out if you like that. Subscribe. Also, the Instagram, Chef Massey. Let's keep it simple. ChefMassey.com. Have a good one. Bye for now.